Okay.
So Brian, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I feel like I can see the narrative that you have in your head, and it makes absolute sense because I do agree with what she's saying, that there are girls that will, go out and do, some terrible things, use men to get whatever their intentions are, and I completely agree with you. But there are some women that have healthy intentions, do want to find the man of their life, and there are some men that actually want to court, girls. I guess court, yeah, and pay, for the first date and bring flowers and be, So what do you think about the guys that want to pay for like the traditional dinner and bring them like the flowers and all that stuff, and the girls that are still out there and do have like healthy intentions and still want to meet like their husband and through these dating apps and don't have those intentions? I know it's hard to find that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all those things you listed, like paying for the first date, it's not going to hurt you in any way. So like I don't actually recommend men do what I do, because not paying for the date could otherwise shut the door on what, me personally, I use it just as a screening mechanism for women who have a high interest. And then, but I'm prepared to, like, I'm not pressed like any one date. I'm never pressed like, oh, I really, because that's a terrible place, I think, mostly for men, but also for women to be in. If you're like really hoping it works out and you're really like, you're a little too interested, I think that's typically, it tends to not work out. You get in your head about it. So I'm very outcome independent. Like if it doesn't happen with any given person, I honestly don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, if we
actually, that's a healthy thing to not get attached that early.
But I feel like opening the door, paying for dates, gifts, flowers, all that stuff, I feel like these are things that are reserved for women who are worthy of them.
Right.
Yeah.
In other words,
you said you wouldn't even pay for an engagement ring. Huh? You said you wouldn't even pay for an engagement ring, though.
That's more from a waste of money standpoint.
Okay.
But it's more so just, until you are only seeing me, and I know this definitively, I'm not going to do the traditional court. Like, I'm not going to be the traditional guy.
That makes sense.
Because a lot of people are seeing multiple people. I'm not going to sit here and like spend money on a girl.
Yeah.
And you're f***ing another dude. Like, to me, that's just...
Yeah, it's not okay.
You want traditional gender roles don't just go one way. You can't be f***ing a bunch of dudes and then expect a guy to want to be a traditional man and court you and pay you while you're f***ing a bunch of other dudes. Like, I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a bit blunt in my presentation, but again, I don't recommend men do this because you are going to lose out on some women. But for me, it's just like it's a matter of principle for me.
Precautionary
It's almost
measure.
You almost have to do it nowadays, though, because of how common this is.
And then how do you filter them?
Well,
with
exactly.
who you're going
and
out.
Me personally,
like, let's say for an hour or 30 minutes you talk with someone, and you kind of get an idea with like how what kind of like the filter system you're using, even to go on a date with them or not. So, like
that's the biggest thing I hate, though, too, is that me personally, I hate having to sit here and filter out another girl. You know what I mean?
We hate it too.
Like, yeah. Like, filter out what is wrong with this girl. Like, is she gonna do this?
Not about what is wrong. It's like, what do you have in harmony together? What do you have in harmony
Well,
together? What do you have
that's just finding connection.
common together? Yeah, finding a connection,
Yeah.
and then you will see, okay, am I aligned? Then I'm gonna go to the date. So, for example, if the guy tells me like a couple of red flags, I'm not gonna waste my time to go on a date. I'm just gonna go on a date that I feel like there's potential here, so I'm interested to go on a date.
Right. No, I agree with that.
I'll pay if she has a large labia.
Okay.
How are you going to know that before the date?
There's no way to know. There's no way to know. She's gonna have to tell me. She's gonna have to tell me. By the way, Brian, the bill's on you. I have a
So she has to bring that up
large
herself.
labia. She's gonna have to, pass me a note at some point.